This is LaserBolt, and welcome to today's video, guys. The wait is finally over, and we are getting closer and closer to the release of New World. But before we actually get close to the release, we're going to be having a closed beta and an open beta, and we're going to be talking about everything you need to know, not only about the beta, but actually all the changes that have occurred from the alpha to the current release of the game. So if all of this sounds like something you're definitely interested, a like would be greatly appreciated, and let's talk about New World. So as you guys may know, New World has been one of the most kind of ambitious games from Amazon Games, and we are almost at the cusp of actually being able to get our hands on the game. But before the game releases on August the 31st, we're getting a chance to actually play the game early based on the new beta, closed beta, and the new open beta. So one of the biggest questions you might have is, Laser, tell me, when can I actually play this beta? So the beta is just a couple days away, guys. It starts on July the 20th all the way to August the 2nd. So it's about 13 days of open beta that we're not of closed beta that we're going to be able to have. After that, we should get an open beta. As of the date for the open beta, I'm not quite sure of, but we will be having an open beta coming very soon. Now, you're probably wondering, Laser, how do I get access to this, to the beta? How can I actually play it? Well, there's actually 3 ways that you're able to obtain access to the beta. Number 1 is by going to the link I'm going to leave down below in the description and, signing up as a tester. This is not a guaranteed access, but this is a possibility of you being able to play the game. Number 2 is by pre-ordering the game on Amazon. So if you pre-order the game on Amazon, you're guaranteed access to the closed beta. And if you pre-order on Steam, which is the 3rd way, you get access to the game, which will automatically show up in your library. So you'll get access to that closed beta if you guys are trying to play the game before it releases. Now, this game has taken a huge swing, like a pendulum, in changes of the game from when it was priorly announced and when the alpha, because the community has been providing a ton of feedback and they've actually made a couple changes. So you guys are probably wondering, Laser, what does the game play like? What's the difference, right? So at its core, the game is an MMO, but it does have a lot of different components that it's borrowed from other games to make the game more engaging, like its crafting system, or its PvP, its PVE, its dungeon system, and we're going to cover all that in today's video. The game is divided into 12 zones when you actually look at the map. And character progression is extremely important and at its core. Now, the max level for your character in New World is going to go all the way up to level 60. And the question you might be asking is, Laser, how do I get all the way to level 60? Of course, we'll have guides as we progress throughout the game, but I want to give you guys a better understanding of things that you're going to probably be able to do in the game when the game releases. Number 1, there's going to be 4 different things that you're able to do within the game that's going to help you earn XP to level up your character to level 60. Number 1, you're going to want to do the main story missions. So that's the main story quest. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know about the main story quest is that these missions don't automatically unlock. Now, when I mean that is that if you complete a story mission, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to go to chapter number 2 and then chapter number 3. You actually have to level up to hit that chapter, that second chapter, and that is where the other options come available for you to earn XP. Because apart from the main story mission, there are side missions that you're able to complete that are very similar to, any other game you might have played. And these side missions are found within settlements, which you can find within the map. Now, apart from the side missions, there are also town projects. Now, these town projects are extremely important because these are going to help you exponentially when it comes to crafting your gear and also earning XP. Now, these are very diverse and they give you multiple ways of actually earning that XP and doing different objectives in the world, like maybe gathering, they tell you go gather some trees, go kill this animal. Very similar to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where it tells you to, when you go to your settlement and it sends you out to bounties. It's very similar to that. The other option we have is called faction missions. Now, these might be a little bit different from you guys because from other games. Now, faction missions are extremely important because those are going to give you a ton of XP. And in addition to that, you're only going to be able to unlock these at level 10. Now, keep in mind, you won't have access to the faction missions at the start. You actually have to hit level 10 of your character to be able to unlock those. Now that you know how to actually level your character to level 60, let's talk about the gear you're going to need in order to do so. Now, for the gear, guys, we have an option of 2 weapon slots, so you're able to equip 2 weapons at a time. And you have an option of 5 different sets of items or apparels that you're able to equip within your character. Now, these particular characters are going to be given the option to decide, what type of armor they want and what type of rarity. So there's common, uncommon, rare, and epic. Now, if you guys, I do want to go ahead and reference a little bit to Assassin's Creed Valhalla if you have played that. It's very similar, though, of course, the higher rarity, the more options and slots you have for that armor set that are going to boost some sort of ability that you might have as a character. In addition to that, the armor does come with different stats as far as weight values. It comes with light, medium, and heavy. Now, these three particular stats will provide different attributes or different abilities or different skill sets or benefits for equipping certain items. So, for example, the light one will give you 20% more damage. The medium armor and the heavy armor will also have their own particular stats that are going to benefit you on your playstyle. Now, as far as the weapons you're going to be having a chance to choose from are the following. You have the Warhammer, the Great Axe, the Life Staff, a sword, a reaper, a spear, a hatchet, a bow, a musket, ice gauntlet, and a shield. Speaking of the shield, guys, the shield is a very interesting one because you don't have dual wielding weapons in this game at the current moment, but when you actually equip a shield, you can only carry one particular weapon. You're not going to be able to do like two axes or not two axes. I mean, like have a battle axe and have a life staff and have a shield. So you're going to have to decide which way you want to play. So if you do decide to pick up a shield, it's going to be counting as a particular weapon when you're actually using it. Now that you understand the gear and how that works, let's talk about the character classes and how those actually work. So the character classes are pretty interesting, and currently in this game, there is no set class for the game. So it's not like if you pick this character, you're this particular class. The way this game actually works is that your armor and your gear actually decide what type of class you want to be. So if you want to be tanky, you could be tanky, and that's going to be determined on what type of armor you put on. And if it's heavy, is it light? So you're not tied down to a specific character being kind of telling you what class you are. What you get to decide to pick any character you want, but your armor and your gear will determine what type of class you actually have. Now, with that being said, you're also going to be giving attribute points for each character that you have, and these are also going to be swaying on what type of class you will be playing in the game. Now, the character's progression system, the way it works, is that each time you level up, you're going to be given an attribute point, and you're going to be able to spend these attribute points in these 5 categories: in strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, and constitution. Now, of course, these also tie down to how you want to play and how you want to approach the game. Of course, strength will make you a little bit more tanky and hit a little bit harder. Dexterity is going to give you a little bit more speed. Intelligence is going to give you benefits when it comes to using magical potions. Focus is going to give you a little bit more when it comes to the whole crafting system. And constitution is going to give you just a tad bit more health. So it's all going to boil down to exactly how you want to play the game and how you want to approach it and what type of classes you want to be. Of course, we will have videos here breaking down each individual class where to spend your points. Now, speaking of character progression and spending points, I do want to let you guys know that there is a caveat to this character progression, because just like any other game, one of my biggest, like my pet peeves is when they don't let you reset your character progression, right? Like you say you want to spend so many points on strength and you're like, man, I really made a mistake and I want to reset it. There are certain games that don't allow you to do that. This game will actually allow you to do that, but it comes with a price. The first time you reset your character, you'll be able to reset it until you hit level 20. So basically from level 20 and down, you're able to change your attribute points and reset that at no cost. Once you pass level 20 on your character, you're going to have to use a currency that is used in the game called gold, which will allow you to reset your character's attributes. Now, every time you reset your character's attributes, the price of gold will go up. So let's say for one time, I changed my mind. It's like, I don't think I like this class. Let me reset. So it costs 50 gold. So that next time I want to go ahead and reset, it's going to be 100 and so forth and so forth. So if you guys are planning to be changing your builds up a lot, make sure you guys have enough gold. Of course, we'll probably have a guide on how to farm gold so you guys won't be running into that problem. Now, one thing I did want to mention that I'm not going to be diving too much into because this video is going to be very long is weapon mastery. And these are actually attributes that you're able to pick up for weapons that allow you to customize your weapons even further and give you guys a different playstyle. We'll talk about that in a separate video. Now, the last thing I want to kind of talk about is the different game modes that you're able to engage in this game, because this game does have a PvP and a PvE focus. Now, granted, you're going to be able to opt out if you don't want to play PvP and you just want to play PvE, or you could play PvE and PvP, both at the same time. So let's talk about what we have, because there are some changes from what was, prior to the game being released and when it was in an alpha stage. Now, for PvP, we have duels, which is a 1v1. So if you want to fight someone 1v1, you're actually able to fight a person, right? We have another one called Outpost Rush, which is a 4-player kind of multiplayer game where it puts a team of 20 versus another team of 20, and you guys just pretty much outpost it out there. And then we have another one called War. Now this is 100 versus 100, and War is pretty interesting because that one's going to involve you being able to go to the website and see when these wars are about to start, and you're able to engage in these war events. So you guys could claim back an outpost or a faction and do it that way. So factions are extremely important, and we'll cover that after we cover the game modes. Now for PVE, like me, I love me some PVE. There are some really cool options here that we're able to play. And the first one is a dungeon. Now, one thing I do want to reiterate for this one, these are mostly all capped for 5 players. So, the game is meant for you to be playing with 5 people. But Dungeons is a 5-man expedition that there's a total of 6 of them that are currently available within the game that will allow you to explore different dungeons and collect different sets of loots. So these are going to be kind of your main bread and butter to explore with your team. There is another one this is the one that's gotten a little bit of a tweak from the alpha stage because it wasn't that engaging. Now that is the arena modes, and the arena modes are found throughout the world. They're pretty much like lost sectors if you ever played Destiny, and you're able to find these throughout the world. But in order for you able to access these arenas, you're going to need a key, and every time you use that key, you lose that key. And if you want to go into this arena, got to be prepared because the guy you're going to be fighting or the boss you're going to be fighting is going to be a very hard hitter. So don't go into this area unless you're prepared to actually take this out. And one interesting thing about the arenas is these actually award you legendaries, which are extremely important in the game. So make sure you guys come equipped and ready to battle within the arena. Now, the next one we have is called Corrupted Breachers. Now, these are pretty much enemies that are in the world, and these are enemies that are corrupted. So there's going to be a little green mist surrounding them. And if you go into that mist, you're going to be like dying, right? So you want to make sure you kill these beasts and either, kind of kite them out of the misty area where they're at, or you're going to want to kill them as quickly as you possibly can. And the last one we have is called Invasion, and this is going to be a 50-player event. There's another scheduled event that you're actually going to have to look into either the game or within the website to see at what time these are going to be taking place so you can participate in them. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and we're not going to go too much into detail, which are the factions, because we'll have a separate video about the factions. Factions are extremely important in the game, and they are going to be one of the most interesting choices you make, because at level 10, you're going to have to decide what faction you want to go with. Now, there are a total of 3 different factions. We have the Covenant, the Syndicate, and the Marauders. Now let's take a look at them individually. So the Covenant could be probably considered a fanatic group that aims to purge heretics, and the group's ultimate goal is to cleanse the world of wrongdoers according to their vision and make it fit for their more holy standards. Then we have the Syndicate. The Syndicate are on the mission of their own, aiming to unravel all the forbidden knowledge around the world to ultimately start a new age of enlightenment. And then we have the Marauders. Now the Marauders are essentially a military group that's looking to form a new and free nation for the strong. So it's pretty much boiling down to a religious cult, an Illuminati cult, and a military cult, right? So that's what we have as far as different factions that you're able to pick. Now, the reason why this is extremely important to decide which faction you actually decide to align with is because when you're playing as a team, you can only play with people who are in your faction. So let's say I have a group of friends, and one of my friends wants to be a Syndicate, and my other friend wants to be a Covenant. And when we want to play with each other, we won't be able to play with each other because we're going to be at war with each other. So we're going to have to decide that we are within the same faction to be able to participate and play together. So it's going to be a very important option to decide. Now, I know what you guys are thinking is, Laser, once I pick a faction, can I leave a faction? And yes, you can. You'll be able to leave a faction, but it's going to be time gated. I believe they said it was 120 days that you have to actually change the faction. So it's going to allow you to change it, but you're going to be time gated to when you're able to change that faction. Now, another important aspect of picking out factions is that each faction will offer its own specialized equipment to players as they will rise in the ranks of the faction, and meaning there will be slightly difference between all of them when it comes to gameplay and style. So, of course, each faction will have its own benefit. And like I said, I'll have a more extensive video going over factions so you can make a better decision of the ones you want to have. Now, some of you guys just might choose a faction based on aesthetics. Some of you choose the faction based on beliefs. And some of you just might choose a faction whatever your friends decide to play with. So out of these 3 factions, which one so far do you guys think you're going to be picking? Now, I am extremely excited for the release of New World and can't wait to actually get my hands on the closed beta and play it and give you guys a couple more gameplay and more enlightenment when it comes to the actual game itself. I do hope you guys are excited as much as I am. If you are, do me a huge favor, guys, drop a comment, drop a like, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you guys won't miss our New World coverage. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.